Hello again. I'm Joe McTurnan, AOPA's Director of Coding and Reimbursement, Education and Programming. I wanted to thank you for joining me for another edition of AOPA's Take. Today, we are going to discuss a potentially valuable but often misunderstood tool for your business, the Advanced Beneficiary Notice. The Advanced Beneficiary Notice, or ABN, is a form that you can use to inform a Medicare beneficiary that you have reason to believe that a particular service will be deemed not medically necessary by the Medicare program. By providing a Medicare beneficiary with this information prior to provision of the service in question, you provide the patient with the opportunity to make an informed decision about receiving the service and accepting financial responsibility for payment of your full charge should Medicare deem it not medically necessary. If you provide a Medicare covered service to a beneficiary that is determined to be not medically necessary for the individual patient's care, and you do not use an ABN to inform them in advance, the patient may not be held financially liable for any portion of your charge due to Medicare waiver of liability provisions. Obviously, the ABN can be a very useful tool for your business that will increase your ability to be transparent with your patients and also protect you from unnecessary financial liability. But there are a few important points to remember in order to utilize ABNs successfully. First, ABNs only apply to Medicare claims. More specifically, only to traditional fee-for-service-based Medicare claims. In general, ABNs are not valid for either private insurance or Medicare Advantage plans, as these plans typically have alternate means determining medical necessity in advance, such as prior authorization. In the rare instance that a non-fee-for-service Medicare plan allows the use of an ABN, it must be well documented with that plan's operating procedures, or it may be considered invalid. Second, ABNs may not be used on a routine basis as a strategy to reduce the provider's potential financial liability from medically unnecessary care. ABNs must list the specific reason why a unique service or item will most likely be deemed not medically necessary to meet the specific patient's medical needs. ABN language should never include phrases like, Medicare never pays for X, or Medicare audits all claims for Y. If you are asking every Medicare patient who enters your practice to sign an ABN at intake, that is considered a blanket ABN and will almost certainly be determined to be invalid. Third, Medicare beneficiaries must be presented with an ABN before a service is provided and allowed sufficient time to make an educated and informed decision whether or not to accept financial responsibility for the service. An ABN cannot be given to a patient at a final delivery appointment and then have the patient be told that they can only receive the service or item if they sign the ABN. Finally, the ABN must use plain language that can be easily understood by the Medicare beneficiary. This goes back to the requirement that the patient has the opportunity to make an informed decision to accept financial liability for the potentially medically unnecessary service in order for the ABN to be deemed valid. The ABN must explain not only what services you believe will be considered not medically necessary, but also the specific reason why you believe the service will be considered not medically necessary. When used properly, ABNs can be a very useful tool for your O&P business. Thanks again for spending just a few minutes with me today. AOPA's Take, where you go when you need to know.